Hello and welcome to Ant RC. Part 8, I believe this is, of my MC6 build. This is Terry here. I think I got the last part wrong. I think I said it was the part 6 when it was part 7. Anyway, I think I got it right this time. So what's happened? Well, as you can tell, quite a lot. The last video, it was pretty much just a shell. The painting had been done and the interior was separate. But now everything's bolted in pretty much. This is going to be quite a long video, I think, so I'll warn you now. The first thing I did was gluing the glass into the doors, and there's been many a comment and discussion with Andrew and Mal from Basildon Trailing Buddies how frightened I was about putting the glass in, about getting finger marks on. So the first test was the doors, and that worked pretty well. It was actually quite easy. A little bit of glue, canopy glue. Actually, I will get the glue out, and this is the glue that's been recommended to me. Canopy glue, I think 506 it's called, I believe. Very good. Dries clear. Stuck to the windows pretty damn well. So the door stayed off it until I finished the interior. Now what's happened with the interior? Well, there's been lots of weathering, maps and things, and weathering inside on those maps, and the roll mat here, and weathering on that piece of rope. I love this view, the fact that the scale of it, you know, these things wedged up against this door, and you can see that there's glass in there now. It gives it such a better look. I love it, really do love it. I'm so happy with it. So let's go into the interior first of all. If I can get the door open. Might have to do a quick jump cut for that, bear with me. Okay, so jump cut done. The doors are open. I haven't cheated. I haven't glued them in. They do actually work on the hinges, which is fantastic. The hinges went together really well. But yeah, let's go back into the interior. So, my man, he has no legs. You know, clearly he is not the right scale necessarily for the entire truck, but I don't believe that the seats and the way the floor is particularly scale. As I've said before, a lot of these, the videos you see of real trucks like this, the guy in them or woman in them appears to really feel the cab. Now, if you get a scale person, the ones I've seen, it didn't suit the look I wanted. So for me, this is perfect. And I, you know, didn't want to cut his legs off, but I wanted his look of the kind of sweaty shirt, bit of a dude. That was perfect. And I think, you know, if you ignore the fact his legs are off, when the actual door's closed, he does give that impression that he fits the cab nicely, and I really do like how he looks. So that's perfect. The interior has been weathered, as well as him. The steering wheel's on. He's got his can of Coke. I have screwed the dashboard to the cab floor. You can't see it, there's a screw in here and there's a screw the other side. Because in the manual it says to secure this, well, put the windscreen on first, then put the wipers through, then secure the dashboard to the front of the cab. There's not a lot of gluing points, and there's not a lot of contact points, should I say, I should say. And I wasn't happy with that. I didn't feel that, you know, because we're not going to baby these trucks, we're going to use them. And I had this feeling that it was going to fall out. And the cab, which I'll come on to later, is not very accessible once you've built it and put it together. So I've come up with an idea that will enable me to, you know, take it out should I need to. So what's happened is the floor has been bolted, the dashboard, which is all one part, is bolted to the floor. The bolt comes out just underneath here. So what you do is you slide the dashboard and the floor in as one, which is a bit tricky, but it has its benefits because it means the dashboard is nice and secure. Mine, before painting, wasn't moulded. It didn't mould straight. It was sitting wonky. It was kind of in line with the squares on the floor on one side and not on the other when it was pushed into this kind of hole in the floor where the steering column goes into. So I've had to Dremel this away. I couldn't file it because I couldn't get enough off it. So mine wasn't straight, and that was before painting. So I've had to do some tweaking, and it's taken a long time. I have had a week off in this time. Not all of it was truck building, but these things with this truck, Mal said from Basildon, this is a long build for your first build, and there's lots of hours. And I knew there would be, but there's more hours in it than I realised. And it's all these little things that you don't consider that crop up. I don't like this idea of you not being able to get in, or things being permanently glued, because the floor in here of the dashboard, of the cab, sorry, which is the floor of the actual cab itself, as you can see, you're supposed to push it up and then glue it underneath, like plastic world, ABS cement. So glue this to the side of the cab. Now that means if you do that with ABS cement, chances of you getting it out are very slim, and there's not a lot of access with this top hatch and through the doors. If a steering wheel should fall off, or the pedals fall off, or something, I don't like that idea of it being sealed. If you want to modify it afterwards, put more lights in or put a different person in, or it's going to be much easier if you had to take this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run hot glue, or dabs of hot glue along this line under here, because once it's all pushed up, it stays in quite well. But my thinking is if I run just a dab of hot glue here and there, you can easily pick hot glue off, and then I can get to it. And I can also get the dashboard out, because as you can see the bolt here, it will drop out of the cab. I can split it apart and do what I need to. I've never built the model before this, that it's all in bits and you glue it together. But I'm not sure if this is necessarily a step up. I don't know. I'm just used to trucks, RC cars, you can get access to things. You're not locked out. So that was the mod I've taken, and Andrew and I have discussed this at some great length, and we kind of come up with this idea together of the hot glue and, being uneasy about not being able to get into it. So it's not completely finished outside, but inside it is this really cool netting, which I bought just to kind of, I think it finishes it off. It hides the wires from the light bar. Now, I had one of these light bars on my FJ, and if you go back on the channel and check out the videos of that bad boy, I haven't got any more, but fantastic truck it was. This is an RC four-wheel drive light bar. It's quite expensive, but I got it from China, so I had to wait some time. So there's also been a delay of doing the cab, because I wanted to do, before I put the windows in, I wanted to put the light bar in and run the wire, because I didn't want the windows in and wipers and doors and me breaking something off. So that's in, which I'll come to in a moment. We've got a nice bit of rope here that kind of dangles down at the back. His magazines and packet of crisps and his can of Coke. You may spot that rather large alarming hole in the back supporting wall of the cab. Now that is for my HD RunCam camera, so I can get a cockpit view, and I've tested it only in the house, and the footage is pretty damn cool. It gives you a really nice view of the cabin just over his shoulder. So yeah, that's groovy. Like the little seat belt I put on him. This is a first for me. I've never done detailing like this. I've never done a build like this, and I am over the moon with it. I am so happy with the hours and work I've spent. I've had a few problems, but mistakes have happened, but they've not been disastrous. I've been quite calm about it. Let's get on to the lights. This light bar, as I mentioned, is pretty damn cool. I will secure it because it's a bit wobbly at the moment. Probably glue these up like I did on the FJ. Around the back, We have got some really, really nice 4 LED spots either side. So they're to light up the flatbed and face backwards. I do love my lights. And I was been thinking quite hard about the light setup. So you'll see there's a number of wires here. So what am I running? Well, this RC 4-wheel drive wireless light controller. So it runs off of battery, off a LiPo. And then it's got 4 channels, servo channels that run out of it. So then it just works with this remote LED switch. And without further ado, let's turn them on. And be prepared with this light bar because it is so bright. Now I can't remember which, that's the wrong one. There we go. Now that is seriously bright. And again, you just, whichever channel you wire it up to, press the switch, on it comes. So I did want to set this up with my radio, but no, I like this switch. Andrew found it, I will admit, but I bought it first, so it's my idea. That's I'm still my story, I'm sticking to it. So there definitely won't be any issues with driving at night, because we're going to do a lot of 4K videos in late summer evenings next year, running on the trail with these lights running. I thought this would just look amazing. So what else have we got? We have got that controlled by the switch as well, and that controlled by the switch. So I can turn the spots on and off independently. And again, I've forgotten which one I've put on which, so it's why it's a bit sporadic. But yeah, I really like those. They're nowhere near as bright as the light bar, but they're pretty cool. So I think that will be nice, a good video effect. Also in here, we have some cab lights. So I've got 2 LEDs sitting underneath the dash. Now I didn't want them imposing, but I think that's going to be pretty cool, especially when it's quite dark. It gives a nice red glow inside the cab, which should look pretty cool. This brings me on really to the standard lighting kit of Cross RC. I really am not impressed. I'm not the world's best lighting RC person to set things up, but it comes with a controller box, and I've had bulbs blow, and I don't like it. It's too fiddly. It's a pain. So this is why I'm gonna be running this set here to control the cab lights, not the headlights. I haven't shown you those yet. I'm not gonna be able to switch them on because I haven't got a receiver here. But the headlights of the truck sit underneath. And what I'm gonna be doing is years ago, I bought a killer body drift car 18 light set, which reacts to throttle inputs and brakes. So all I'm going to do is use that for the rear brakes for this and the bulbs in the headlights, so that they'll come on and be reactive. I'm not going to go with the indicators. Getting onto the indicators, the problem I made for myself by screwing the dashboard and the floor together was getting these indicator bulbs in. I was going to have them running, but I plugged them into the servo, the RX, and they both went pop. Similarly, with there's an LED cab light in here. Now, on reflection, I decided to put that in before I put the cargo net in. So you don't want a light sitting in there because it would get very hot and it wouldn't work. So that's why I decided to put the red cab lights in. And make it something, make it a little bit different. So I like the fact that you can switch all these on and off. I think that's pretty cool. And I do like my lights. As you can see, the interior ones going on and off there, which should look pretty cool. But I am so pleased with how this looks. I absolutely love it. The rope and the driver, it's perfect. I couldn't have, this is exactly how I wanted it to look. And I keep finding myself looking through the conservatory windows at night and switching the light, coming in and switching the light on just to stare at it for a little while, because it's just brilliant. This cab has taken a long time. you know, all little bits of it coming together, the painting, planning ahead, what bit goes where. It's not quite finished just yet. I've just painted this evening the parts for the mirrors, and there's a mirror that goes on up here, so I've done that. I've also painted, there's some supports that go under here, either side. I've painted those, so they're drying at the moment. I haven't put the top cover on because I'm waiting to, well, I've painted the little bits that clip the cover down. I'm not sure how this is going to work, how strong opening it and closing it. I'm expecting it to have some problems with this. How I get around that, I don't know. Hopefully it will stand the test of time, but we'll see. One disaster, well, not disaster, but I snapped the indicator cover. Come on, focus camera, focus. You can just see here, I snapped it. Annoying, but one of those things. And if it's the main thing that's gone wrong, considering the things that could have gone wrong with this cab build, I'm really quite pleased with that, to be fair. The windows have gone in quite nicely. They've got a couple of marks. I've gone over them with thinners to try and get as best I can, but considering all my Airfix models, they all ended up being like a whole ton of fingerprints. I'm really pleased with that. It says in the manual that you put these wipers through and they stick out on like a plastic prong. It says I'll use a soldering iron to melt them. I thought there is no way I'm getting a soldering iron near this glass on my lovely paintwork. So what I did is I just snipped them with a bit of pliers and put some super glue on, and it seems to have worked fine. The thought of getting a 200-degree soldering iron near all this fancy work was not something I relished the thought of doing. So yeah, it's pretty much sorted. How cool. I'm so pleased with it, and this camera view is going to be amazing. I'm going to paint something and put it over that hole, paint it white so it's not quite so obvious. I remember when Andrew came up with the idea and I was thinking, oh no, do I really want to drill my back of my cab? Well, I didn't drill it, I used a body reamer. And then I had the fun of building this platform, because in here, I'm not using, this is the area where this raised part here is where the speaker sound system would go. So I'm not using that. So I needed a level platform to be able to put the camera at the right height to go over his shoulder, because I wanted that look of looking over his shoulder so you could see the steering wheel and the dash. So it had to be right. So I cut the hole and got it where I wanted it, and then the mount was an afterthought. So this is the best I could come up with for now. It may change in future, but I needed something that because the floor was not level. So if the floor would have been level, I could have put a little box up here, Velcro on it, easy, but it's not. So I had to build something, and that's what I come up with for now. As I say, it may change, but it's going to be quite handy for sticking in the RC four-wheel drive box, you know, Velcroing it on this side and kind of squeezing the battery down here when it's running. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, the spare wheel's on. It's so close to being there. Just a couple of more bits and then it's done. And then I will hot glue the floor in. I will run all these cables and lights up into here and get it all tidy before I put the hatch on. I need to do some weathering. These, the kind of corner guards of the truck, I need to weather those. I need to weather the hinges. And when I get the mirrors on, I'll weather them. But that's not going to take too long. So the next part of the build is going to be doing the flatbed. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, I'm really excited about doing the flatbed. It's the bit that I think I'm going to enjoy the most. I have enjoyed the cab. It's been good fun, and I'm really pleased with the results. But it's been some days where I've worked on it and it's dragged. I'm thinking, oh, you know, I'm enjoying this, but there's so many fiddly bits. Just like, get it over with. But I've had such a good experience and I've learned a lot. My one thing I would say is if you're looking at one of these and put off by the build, don't be. It's not anywhere near as scary as you think. Use people online, ask questions. I'm happy to answer any questions if you've got them. drop us a line in the comments, and I can help if I can. I'm not perfect, but you know, it's a pretty damn good result. And also to remember, if you make mistakes, you know, the videos aren't going to be that close, so you will see them, but other people won't. And it's about whether you're happy. And as you can tell, I'm pretty ecstatic and quite proud of this. So I've been putting pictures up and things like that, and I can't wait to get it running and get it on video. Going back to the flatbed, I am really excited. There's lots of gluing and kind of, you know, assembling the big flatbed and then assembling all the sides and a bit more spraying, but you know, there's some little intricate parts that go on the side covers of the flatbed, but they don't look too bad. So compared to getting all this in, and it's the planning more than anything. What you do first, when, how you want it to look, the fact that, you know, if you put it in and glue it together, you can't get it out again. And I didn't like that at all. And the interior has been quite important to me. I've never done a real good scale interior, and this, for the first effort, I'm really pleased with it. Just to make it that, you know, finish it off. There's little details, and yeah, having the camera in there is going to be awesome. If I can find it, I will put the test footage up now. Of the video shot I took. I hadn't taken it outside, I just did it in the conservatory here, but it does look pretty trick. I did that without the windows being in. So this has been quite a lengthy video, apologies, but there's been quite a lot happening. I probably won't do another video when the cab's finished. I will probably do a video when I'm in the middle of the flatbed build, putting some things together, because that's going to be the next stage for me. And again, it's something I'm really looking forward to, and I think I'm going to enjoy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't think I've left anything out. I know there's a few people that have been subscribing to it and watching it, so I hope you enjoy it. And again, if you are thinking about building one of these and are worried about it, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And please, we need more MCs out there. We need more on YouTube and more on Instagram, because they are an awesome truck. So yes, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Please like and subscribe. And again, any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will come back to you soon. Bye for now.